जय राधा माधव जय कुंज हरि जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 निष्णातं योगमायाशु निष्णातं योगमायाशु मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं निष्णातं योगमायाशु मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं यत् अभ्रमशायितुं भोग यत् अभ्रमशायितुं भोग न शेकुर्भगवत्परं न शेकुर्भगवत्परं निष्णातं योगमायाशु मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं यत् अभ्रमशायितुं भोग न शेकुर्भगवत्परं निष्णातं योगमायाशु मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं यत् अभ्रंशायितुं भोग न शेकुर्भगवत्परं
निष्णातं योगमायाशु स्वयंभुवं मनुं संसहितं भोग शेकुर्भगवत्परं
निष्णातं योगमायासु मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं यत् अभ्रांसहितं भोग नाशेकुर्भगवत्परं
निष्णातं योगमायासु
मुनिं स्वयंभुवं मनुं
Yogamayashu, in temporary enjoyment. Munim, who was equal to a saint. Swayambhuvam, Swayambhuva. Manu, yet, from which, Abhramshayitum, to cause, to deviate. Bhogaha, material enjoyment. Not. Shekuhu, were able. Bhagavat Param, who was a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of H.M. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, translation, please repeat. Thus Swayambhuva Manu was a saintly king. Although absorbed in material happiness, he was not dragged to the low grade of life, for he always enjoyed his material happiness in Krishna conscious atmosphere. Purport. The kingly happiness of material enjoyment generally drags one to the lowest grade of life, namely degradation to animal life, because of unrestricted sense enjoyment. But Swayambhuva Manu was considered as good as a saintly sage because the atmosphere created in his kingdom and the home was completely Krishna conscious. The case is similar with the conditioned soul in general, when they have come into the material life for sense gratification. But if they are able to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere as depicted here or as prescribed in revealed scriptures by temple worship and the household deity worship, then in spite of their material enjoyment, they can make advancement in pure Krishna consciousness without a doubt. At the present moment, modern civilization is too attached to the material way of life or sense gratification. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement can give the people in general the best opportunity to utilize their human form of life in the midst of material enjoyment. Krishna consciousness does not stop them in their propensity for material enjoyment, but simply regulates their habits in the life of sense enjoyment. In spite of their enjoying the material advantages, they can be liberated in this very life by practicing Krishna consciousness by the simple method of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Aham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, I am very happy to be here in Balaramdesh to see wonderful devotees on this auspicious day of Ekadashi and then discuss some little bit of Bhagavatam in this exalted assembly of devotees. I would like to start with a small story. So there was a man who was very poor. And because he was so poor that he thought that it is not worth living this life. So he left his village and went to a forest. And in the forest he found a nice tree. And in that tree he wanted to hang himself. So he took a rope and then made all the preparations for hanging himself. He made the noose and then he put the noose on his neck and he was going to jump. Normally in forest, from our young days, we know that there are angels in the forest. So we know the story of the angel and the woodcutter and so many different stories. So forest means forest has some angels. So the angel of this forest, so she thought, why this fellow should die in my forest and bring bad name to me? Let me give him something. And then she promptly appeared before him at the nth moment before he is going to jump and hang himself. And then told, my dear man, why do you want to jump? And then this guy said that life is not worth living for me because I am so poor. And I don't have anything, no facility, nothing to eat. So why should I live? Let me just die. Then this angel said, this is easily solved. Don't worry about it. And then she has a magic wand. Normally angels have a magic wand. So she waved the magic wand and then in front of this poor guy there was a big heap of precious gems and diamonds and rubies and whatnot and gold and everything. And then she told, this is all yours, you can take it. And that fellow, he got sacked. He has never seen so much of wealth at the same time in his life. So he was so happy that he just jumped towards that wealth and then hanged himself to death. This is the nature of material enjoyment. This is what happens to us in our pursuit of material enjoyment. That we are always running behind this carrot which is hanging in front of us but which we can never touch. This is like a washerman who puts a yardstick in front of his donkey and then hangs a carrot in front of it. And the donkey always has this dangling carrot in front of him. And then he says, next step I am going to get this carrot. So he walks all the way to the river looking at the carrot, but the carrot doesn't come to him. So he goes to the river and the washerman washes everything, then puts it back on the donkey and the donkey is back looking at the carrot. And when the donkey reaches home, the washerman takes the carrot, makes some sabji and eats himself. So the point which I am trying to make is that in material world, everyone looks for happiness. And sometimes we also think that we got happiness. Because it seems that we have got what we want. We have nice family, we have nice car, we have 4 wheels, and then we can go everywhere, and then we seem to have some money, some property, everything is there. And then we think that now I can be happy. But practical experience shows to us that we can never be happy. In fact, Prahlad Maharaj says that the moment we start looking for happiness in this material world, what we have to get? We have to get misery. Because the nature of the material world is such that it is packaged in such a way that whatever we do, wherever we touch, we are properly and sufficiently kicked so that we can understand that this is not the place for us. But still we want material facilities. Because that is what we are looking for. So here in this purport, it is explained that how one can be happy while also looking for material facilities in this material world. Prabhupada explains that the Krishna conscious movement actually provides a unique opportunity to bring together these two opposite aspects. That one can be happy even within this material world, while enjoying the facilities of this material world. The formula for one to be happy even within this material world, while enjoying the facilities of the material world, is given in this purport as a threefold program. The threefold program is starting from chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, along with 2 other things. The worship of the temple, of the deity in the temple, and the worship of the deity at home. So, we have this whole program of chanting the holy name, serving the deities in the temple, and serving the deities at home. And if we do these 3 things, we can have material enjoyment without any problem. Because when we do these 3 things, we will not have any more time left for material enjoyment. This is the whole idea. That you want to have material enjoyment, okay, have it, but along with the antidote for material enjoyment. It is said in very nice kirtan that this material life is like a person who is bitten by a snake. So when a person is bitten by a snake, normally in Mayapur we don't have injection, anti-venom. We have, but there is also another method. There are some people who will chant mantras. And by the chanting of these mantras, one could bring down the venom of the snake bite. Same way, this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the chanting to bring down the poison of material existence. When one chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one brings down the poison of material existence. So that allows a person to some extent engage in his parlays with Maya so that he is not so much affected. Here it is stated that Swayambhuva Manu, he was able to enjoy his kingly facilities without getting degraded to lower grade of life. So this is simultaneously an opportunity and a warning. The opportunity is that if we are strongly situated in Krishna consciousness, then facilities do not matter. The existence of facilities around us do not degrade us. Normally the default setting is that if you have more material facilities, then you have a better chance to be degraded. This is the default setting of material world. That is why pious activity is worse than sinful activity. At least sinful activity, somebody knows that if I do sin, I will suffer. When someone does pious activity, he thinks that I will do pious activity and I will enjoy. But the nature of pious activity is that it will push one to degradation. And by doing pious activity and by having lot of facilities, one will simply become victim of Rajoguna. And when one becomes the victim of Rajoguna, then he becomes the candidate to do sinful activities. And that sinful activity is done knowingly. It is not done unknowingly. It is done knowingly. This is the subject matter of inquiry in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the end, Arjuna is asking Krishna that why do people commit sinful activities knowingly, as if they are forced to do them. And then Krishna gives an entire analysis of lust. He gives a very beautiful analysis of lust. He says, what is the source of lust? He says, Kamayesha, Krodayesha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha, Mahashano, Mahapapma, Vidhyena Mihavairita. The source of lust is identified as Tamoguna, Rajoguna, which leads one to Tamoguna. And then he goes on to say what lust does to a person. And where does it reside? Where does lust reside? Where does it reside? And finally, he gives the whole analysis of how to control this lust. So how to control the lust? Then Krishna gives a twofold program for controlling lust. He says, Tasmat Tvam Indriyam Yadhu Niyamya Bharatashava. This is the first program. That one should practice sense control according to the rules and regulations of the scripture. This is the first remedy to lust. Therefore, it is said in this verse that Swayambhuva Manu, even though he was enjoying, he was as good as a saintly person. He was Muni. A Muni means one who uses his to enjoy in this material world in a Krishna conscious way. This is a primary requirement, that we should use our intelligence. How to use our intelligence? We should use our intelligence to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Then comes the question that what is the instruction of the spiritual master? The instruction of the spiritual master is very simple. Chant minimum 16 rounds and try to do it without offense. Follow 4 regulative principles. Try to help the spiritual master in his mission to serve Srila Prabhupada. This is a common instruction which every spiritual master gives. And we have taken it as a vow during initiation. So we have to use our intelligence to follow these instructions if we want to enjoy material facilities in this world. Because within these instructions is the safeguard to enjoy the material facilities without degrading. These instructions expressly stop us from doing any sinful activity. Because if one does sinful activity, one cannot progress in Krishna consciousness. A person, a devotee who is doing sin is at a greater risk than a non-devotee doing sin. Because a non-devotee doing sin, he will go to hell. Anyway, he is going to go there. We don't have to worry too much about it. But for a devotee doing sin, he not only goes to hell, but also he is risking his whole devotional service. Because there is an offense to the holy name which says Namno Balathi Yasya Papa Buddhi. Which means, by the strength of the holy name, one actually commits sin. Thinking that I am chanting the holy name, and the holy name is so powerful, it can neutralize all my sins. So if I do little sin, it is fine. It is fine, no problem. One may say, no, I am not thinking like this. But I am unknowingly doing sin. That's the reason why, so that we know, we normally get a big lecture on the 10 offenses before getting initiation. And also, there is a provision in law that ignorance is not an excuse for crime. You cannot kill someone and then go and tell in the court that I did not know that killing means hanging. I am ignorant of law. So please leave me this time. Next time I will not kill anyone. Not possible. If we commit a crime, we have to face the consequences. So for a devotee to do sin means double effect. One is that there is sin, and the second effect is, it is Nama Aparadha. And Nama Aparadha has got a bigger implication because it actually affects the very foundation of our existence, which is devotional service, Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very careful. That is the reason why we have this package of the regulative principles, chanting the holy name without offenses, and constant engagement in the service of the Lord as our initiation vows. Anyone who is serious to progress in devotional service should take this package very seriously. And within this package, whatever comes on its own accord could be enjoyed in the association of devotees in a Krishna conscious way. This is also another important aspect, that when we say that a devotee can accept material enjoyment, it does not mean that a devotee actively seeks material facilities. That is not the business of a devotee. The business of devotee is nicely explained by Narada to Vyasadeva in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He says that one has to simply search for that which one cannot get by all their endeavor in these 14 words. What about my four-wheel drive? So Narada Muni says, don't worry, you will get your four-wheel drive. How will you get it? He gives a very nice example. He says, no one plans for distress in this material world. We don't plan to get a headache, do we? Tomorrow I am going to get a headache. So I am making full plans for that. Day after tomorrow I want flu. So for the past 1 week I am planning how to get flu day after tomorrow. Anyone says like that? The aim of my life is to get into an accident. No, we don't plan like that. We don't plan. But headache comes, flu comes, and accidents do happen. Right? And they happen at the right time. It's not that everything comes together, or if it has to come together, it comes together. It seems to be coming at the right time, exactly when we don't want it. It comes. So, Naradi is giving this example. He says, in your experience it is there. Tad labhyate dukkavad anyata sukam kalena sarvatra kabiranam hasa. Says that in our everyday experience it is there that distress comes at the right appointed time, even though we don't come to Bahrain and work for an Arab. It comes. It comes. So, if according to our karma, if distress has to come and it is delivered nicely packaged to us at the right moment, why do we have this strange idea that facilities come because I work for 14 hours a day? So if facilities are coming because one works 14 hours a day, the rickshawala in Mayapur should be the most richest person. Because if you see them, these thelawalas, they put about 10 people in one thela. I don't know first how these 10 people fit there. And then he takes them all the way from Mayapur to Rajapur and then back. Such a difficult job, with all these ups and downs on the terrain. And the fellow is smoking BD and he himself looks like one BD. And so much of effort, he should be richer than Bill Gates. No, he is not rich. He simply pull rickshaw and pull BD and he will finish. The life will get finished. That is why Bhagavatam is saying, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, Dehavatya Kalatradisho Atma Sainyesho Asatso Api Teshan Pramatho Nidanam Pashyan Apina Pashyati. Yesterday, Raghavan Prabhu was nicely explaining this shloka. That they see everything, but they don't see. We see everything. It's not that we don't see, we see everything. We see that there is disparity despite hard work. We see this. And we see that it is not every time necessary that hard work brings facilities. We also see this. But still we nurture this idea that somehow I will work hard and I will have a lot of facilities. So for a devotee to think like that is actually very dangerous. Because his precious time is wasted in unwanted endeavor, unnecessary endeavor. Sometimes we have to go through some years of kicking to understand this. But at some point we have to understand this. And if we don't understand this, Krishna will make us understand this. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says that the child, he actually wants to eat mud. But the father, he doesn't want the child to eat mud. But he doesn't stop the child from eating mud. Rather, he offers sandesh to the child. And then he says, you want to eat mud? Okay, first you eat this sandesh. So when the child eats sandesh, okay, it's so nice. And then if you eat mud, it's so yucky. So the child thinks, okay, sandesh is better. Let me not eat mud. So he gives this example and then he says, Prabhupada is saying how Krishna is thinking. Very, very interesting. Prabhupada is writing how Krishna thinks. He says Krishna is thinking that this devotee of mine, He wants material enjoyment. He is so foolish. But Krishna is saying, I am very intelligent. So I will not give him what he wants. But instead I will give him my lotus feet. So when he catches hold of my lotus feet, then he will forget everything and then he will become happy. But there is a small time in between this process of forgetting everything and catching hold of Krishna's lotus feet. In that small time we come to Dubai and Bahrain. Okay? And then get into all sorts of trouble. Abu Dhabi also. Jayata was giving class. Okay. He was giving class on this song, Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Sobhai. Okay. So he was giving this class. So while giving this class, he was also singing. Okay. Miche Maya Boshe Jacho Bishe Kachu Habudu Bai. And then he sang again. Miche Maya Boshe Jacho Bishe Kachu Abu Dhabi Dubai. So Miche Maya Boshe is sitting in Maya. And then we are thinking that Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Bahrain will make us happy. Of course, Bahrain makes us very happy because there is Bahraineshwara. But the point which I am trying to make is that in spite of all these facilities, in spite of this temple, in spite of having beautiful deities at home, because everywhere I go I see nice Radha Krishna deities in each home, Krishna deities, Radha Krishna deities, very good worship going on. In spite of all this, we should not actively think of accumulating facilities. Yes, we are in this position, we are in a place, we are in a situation, that situation demands us to do certain things. That is true. It's not that we should not do what it demands us to do, but there should be two things. One, yes, we go through what we are supposed to do. Two, there is a nice chapter in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The title of the chapter is Pandavas Retire Timely. It's a very nice chapter. The chapter says Pandavas retire. No, it says Pandavas retire timely. Why? I was contemplating why that name is there. Pandavas retire timely. Then I made some philosophical speculation. It's allowed. Only mental speculation is not allowed. Philosophical speculation is allowed. I thought in the first canto there is one character who doesn't retire timely. He has to be kicked out of his house. Vidura comes very mercifully and then glorifies him nicely, saying that you are a dog. You don't have any brain. You are sitting and eating in your enemy's house. Still you are thinking of enjoying. And already your teeth has fallen down. Already your strength has gone. But still you want to stick and enjoy. Very nice glorification with relatives. So there is a person in Bhagavatam who doesn't retire timely in the first canto. So he is given forced retirement. So that's the reason why Pandavas retire timely. So that's a nice chapter for us to meditate upon. We should keep on meditating on that chapter. Then how to retire timely? So that we are done with what we want to do with the experiences of the material world and then concentrate on really taking our Krishna conscious life seriously. And the primary requirement for that is that a devotee should be happy with what comes on its own account. Yadricha lava santushto. Otherwise, a devotee becomes victim of prayasa. Prayasa means over endeavor to achieve things which are difficult to obtain. This is called as prayasa. Achieve material things which are difficult to obtain. So for a devotee, prayasa is not good in the material realm. But one should never lose hope in Krishna consciousness. That's the other part. One should never lose hope in Krishna consciousness. That despite all different situations which we are in, we should always be hopeful that one day I will get Krishna's mercy. One day I will get Krishna's mercy in spite of my desire to have four-wheel drive. So I am going to tell you my story and then close this class. This is my own story. Okay. So when I was a small boy, in my house there was only one cycle. And that cycle was used by my elder brother to go to school. So I was left with lugging my school bag and going to school by walk. And then coming back by walk. And then going by walk. And then coming back by walk. So 4 times walk. Okay. And in summer it is not very pleasant to walk in my place. It's very hot. So my only dream when my school days was that somehow I should have a cycle. Okay. So when I grew up and then I went to college and then I got my job, then I went to Bangalore. I saw cycle is not a good idea. You better to have a bike. But I didn't have money for bike because I had just got my first salary. So I wrote to my father saying that, see, I didn't trouble you for a job. I got job myself, but I'm going to trouble you for a bike. Give me money so that I can buy a bike. So my father thought useless fellow, let him take a bike. So he gave me money. So I bought a bike. Kawasaki Bajaj. And I was sitting on the bike and then I was cruising on MG Road at 60 km/h speed, and I felt on top of the world. I was thinking, oh, this is so nice. Till one Sunday, one car fellow came and hit me fair and square. And then I was somersaulting up and then landed on the floor. Of course, I didn't get too much injury. I got some scratches here and there. My bike was in some place, I was in some other place. So I thought this is not a good idea to have a bike. Better to have a car instead of having a bike. So if I have to have a car, then Voltas is not a good place because my general manager was having a car and he was already about 55 years old. And I was not ready to wait for 55 years to get a car. Okay, so I said, okay, let me go to Gulf, Dubai. Nice place. So I went to Dubai. And then I earned some money. And promptly I got a car. And I was cruising on Sheikh Zayed Road. Now 150 km/h. I was very happy. Till some four-wheel drive fellow came behind me and started putting light. And I said, this is not a good idea to have such a small car. Better to have four-wheel drive. Nobody will put light. So I got four-wheel drive. So in the whole process, I already become 38, 40, like that. And when I was driving my four-wheel drive in Sheikh Zayed Road, then I felt little uncomfortable. So I went home and then went to the doctor, and then doctor checked me and he saw everything. And he said, there is no problem with you. Only your lifestyle has become very sedentary. Better you go walking. I left my job and went to Mayapur. So we should be careful in life that we should not get distracted from our stated goal. What is our stated goal? Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against his 10 offences in order to quickly achieve. This is our stated goal. Our stated goal is not to achieve Krishna praise, but to quickly achieve Krishna praise. You should remember this. In order to quickly achieve the desired goal of life, which is Krishna praise. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I'll stop here. Any questions, comments?
You said we should not seek out material happiness.
Yeah.
Like in the name of tourism or some taking a break from life.
Yeah.
Apart from going for yatras, we also seek out to go to some other places. To that. How do we comment on that? Should we not seek that out?
See, there are different schools of thought that we should take a break from Krishna consciousness. Okay? But let me give you some examples so that we can appreciate this idea of taking a break. Okay? So, if one takes a break and then says, the wife tells the husband, I am going on a vacation from my position of my wife. Or the child or the father tells the child, I am taking a vacation on the position of being a father. I am in park today. So we go to park, okay, and we want to take a break. And normally when we go to park, sometimes the children take a break of their boats. So the child comes and then says, Daddy, I am hurt. No, I have taken a break from my position as father. You find someone else. Does it work like that? Does it work like that? No. So there are certain things we cannot take break from. Okay. If we cannot take break from our varnashrama position, which is temporary, okay, how can we think of taking break from our Krishna conscious position, which is eternal? It's eternal. So we can take break from one service and then do some other service. We can take break from going to one holy place and then go to another holy place. And by Prabhupada's mercy, the whole world is holy place for us. You want to go to Europe? Then go to all the temples in Europe. You want to go to US? Then go to all the temples in US. So it is a better way of taking a break, that we are doing something but different in Krishna consciousness. That's a better way of taking a break. Rather than say that I will do something which is other than my Krishna consciousness. Or I will predominantly use my time outside Krishna consciousness. Because normally when we are initiated, that even though wherever we go, we chant our rounds, we do whatever is basically which is needed as initiation was, we do all those things. But then how our predominant time is spent, that is the whole point. That sometimes we think that predominantly we will do something else. No. Our whole idea, like for example in this shloka Swayambhu, he is doing so many things. He is surrounded with so many things. But what he is doing, he is actually chanting the holy name and he is actually creating a Krishna conscious atmosphere. That is his main business. His main business is not to take a break in Barhismati town. Okay? But is simply to create a Krishna conscious atmosphere. So that is how we take a break. That we take a break, but we carry that Krishna conscious atmosphere everywhere. That's how we take a break. Works?
One more small question regarding the dependence. So we should not actively seek the personal material enjoyment. But generally, when we say plan for retirement from active life to say continue the Krishna conscious life after retirement, then we do seek to have a sort of minimum amount of money with us, so that we need not work and we can actively do Krishna conscious activities without bothering for. So this is a, acceptable approach or?
See, it's not that this is an acceptable approach or that is an acceptable approach. That's not the question. The question is that the principle is that even if you actively seek for facilities, you can get only what is destined to you. In Tamil, we have a very strong saying. Okay, please don't get offended. Okay? We have a very strong saying. It says that even if the river is flooded, the dog can lick only whatever amount of water it can lick. So the point is that even if we try to accumulate a lot of facilities, we can only accumulate so much that Krishna allows us to accumulate. And then we should also become satisfied at one point. That point could be different for different people, but there should be a point at which we should get satisfied. We should be satisfied, okay, this is what it is, and let me not try anymore. Like Prabhupada writes in his own life history, Lilamrita, that he was trying to do so many things to earn money. Till his godbrothers told him that Krishna doesn't want you to earn. He wants something else from you. And he was satisfied. And then he did something else. That's the reason why we are sitting here. So the whole point is that we should at least theoretically fix our level of satisfaction. That let me be satisfied here, nothing and no more. After that, whatever comes, goes, it's fine. And normally from my own experience, I can simply say that our level of satisfaction is too high. Even if it comes. After 3 years of staying in Mayapur, me and my wife, we think that we should have come here much before. Not that we should go to Mayapur. I'm not saying that we should go to Mayapur. I'm just saying that the whole idea, the whole plan we made for about 7 years to retire, it looked like a big joke. Because it's not so difficult. And Prabhupada says that if lecture Prabhupada says that if Krishna maintains everyone in this whole world, will he not maintain those who are fully dependent on him? So let's take this case that the Sheikh of Bahrain comes and tells you that leave your job, come with me. Will you ask him how much salary will you give me? Or will you ask him, will you give me accommodation allowance? Traveling allowance? No. You just go, right? Because you know that he will take care of you. More than what you expect. If a person who is actually subject to birth, death, old age and disease can be trusted, why not Krishna? That's why normally I say that we have costless distrust on Krishna and we have costless trust in Maya. I think this is the signal for me to finish the class. So this is the whole point, that we should we should at least know that we will get satisfied here. Okay. And if you are there, it's fine. And the satisfaction should be on two levels. On level of facilities and on level of time. Okay. Sometimes we have our goal of satisfaction only on level of facility. And then we think, oh, it's not coming at all. But we should also have a level of satisfaction in terms of time. That okay, if this time comes and if this is what Krishna has allowed me, I'm happy with what Krishna has allowed me. Let me take a break. Of course, it is individual for everyone. Everyone has a situation. It's individual for everyone. But simply there should be a plan. Because if we don't, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail. This is the reality. There should be some plan. Makes sense? Okay. Anything from Mataji? Yes.
Thank you for your wonderful class. Guruji, you said the happiness and distresses, they come as they are on their own accord. So, like, even the tiny choices what we make, are they pre-planned? Or, for example, you have a choice of selecting a Rasagulla or a Gulab Jamun. So, is this pre-planned or?
See, according to the scripture, the only freedom we have is to choose to act in Krishna consciousness or not to act in Krishna consciousness. That's the only choice we have. In any given situation, we can choose to act in a Krishna conscious way or not to act in a Krishna conscious way. The moment we choose to act in a Krishna conscious way, then we are bound by the order of the spiritual master. Okay? Then we cannot deviate from the order of the spiritual master. The moment we choose to act in a non-Krishna conscious way, we are bound by our own karma. The karma takes over. We'll make choices according to our karma. And then we'll get results according to our karma. The moment we choose to act in a Krishna conscious way, we are always protected by the order of the spiritual master. And as long as we remain under the protection of the order of the spiritual master, we will become more and more free. That's how it works. You can have both Rasagulla and Gulab Jamun. As long as it is offered to the Lord. Not from Haldiram or from some other commercial place. I don't know what sweet shop works here. Some Bahrain sweet shop, whatever. Not from those places. Don't think that I can bring offer to the Lord and eat. Doesn't work. Anything from Mataji? Okay, thank you. Ratra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.